Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another video, and we're going to do something a little different, and where I'm going to be giving a tier list to all the Xenogears bosses. Now, some of them are a little hard to put in because you fight them multiple times, so I'm going to signify which boss fight I mean. So, Ouroboros, definitely an effortless because it's the end of the game. You're with Xenogears, and you take almost no damage from this boss, so it's a joke. For Deus, it depends. I think it's gonna go in the challenging tier because if you don't fight all the orbs and you go full force and you're not really that strong, it's gonna be in difficult or very difficult. And if you defeat all the orbs, most likely challenging to easy. If you're all built up and you go all the way through, it's still probably gonna be challenging. And Sundal, definitely an easy, and Metatron, easy. This guy, it's effortless because he doesn't really do anything. Like stealing fuel really isn't that big of a deal. And Harloot, and that's what his name is. I'll put in challenging because he does have a mechanic that makes him a little tough. The other guys, they don't really do anything that special, but at least this guy kind of does something annoying. True Weltall, effortless, you can't lose. I'm gonna explain. Let's explain the tier list real quickly. Effortless, you have to basically try to lose. If you fight these, you have to basically try to lose. Easy won't give you much of a challenge. You don't even have to really be able to build up that properly in order to win. Challenging, if you're built up properly, they won't give you much of a challenge either. If you're not built up that well, they will give you a bit of a challenge. Difficult, even if you're built up slightly, they will give you problems. And in very difficult, even if you're the top tier, you have the best stuff, you're all ready to go, these things will still blockade you a bit. So, speaking of very difficult, I'm going to be putting Meng's gear in very difficult. Definitely. For Ramses' gear, in one of the last fights in the game, I'm putting that in difficult because, well, for Meng's gear, very hard because if you don't know what you're doing, she can game you over. So pretty much anything in the very difficult, if you don't do it properly, you're gonna get a game over. So definitely one of the hardest fights in the game. Like I don't have to even think about that. So Rams is kind of the same deal. Almost can get you a game over if you don't know what you're doing. If you don't bring the right stuff. True Weltall, it's kind of hard to gear him, hard to put him in a place, but if you know what you're doing, because you're supposed to technically lose to him, but if you know what you're doing, he's easy. Bring Bart, bring Billy, pretty easy to do that. So, True Weltall in there. Deus, this version, in easy, he basically allows you to win if you just wait. If you just wait, you can win. Hammer, I'm going to put that in the difficult tier because if you don't bring the right amount of characters, you will not win. Pretty much. If you don't bring the right amount or if you don't bring the right characters for this battle, you will not win. You will not get the trader card. This trader card is very needed. So yeah, Hammer's pretty difficult. G elements, easy, not much of a challenge for this point in the game. And I'm only ranking people based on when they appear in the game. Of course, that only makes sense. So, G elements don't give you much of a trouble. They don't really do a lot of damage. Their scariest attack only does like 800 to 1000 damage. It's not even that big of a deal. Elements without their gear, I would also put in the easy category because unlike the other fight with the two, Tolone and I can't remember what her other name is right now, but not as hard because you're much more established. The Surfles, definitely put in challenging because what some people might think is to fight the four smaller ones. You don't want to do that. You want to leave one alive so that the big one doesn't get mad. The Fortress, effortless, you have to try to lose. Vendetta, easy with an asterisk. He can make you get a game over if you're not properly geared. Or I guess if you're not at least a decent level with good stats. These probably can still get you a game over even with system id. And with the this is Executioner. The pictures are really not in the best quality, but it's the best I have. So Executioner also comes with the graph. I'm gonna put this in challenging because if you don't know who to go after first, spoiler, go for Executioner first. This is a hard fight. Crescent's easy. Doesn't really do much. It's 3v1. Even though she's fast, she doesn't do much. And for Skyhinge and Grand Growl, easy. Not much of a challenge. They don't do a lot of damage. For the Penguin, or not Penguin, for the Dolphin, I'll put also an easy. With an Astra, I would say half easy, half challenging. Because of the elemental absorbs, this gear does absorb quite a few things, so yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and put Shaken in difficult because he's one of the first fights in the game you have to actually gear elemental resistance for, so that you don't take a lot of damage from his Ignis attack. So there's that. The Neo E-Tone's effortless. Action, this guy, an easy. There's no way you can lose. He almost does no damage, especially against the Choo-Choo version. But against the real version, I'm kind of going in between effortless and easy. But I won't say he's that easy. All these gate attackers. So I'm gonna put this one in challenging because if you don't equip the right gear part, this guy will do a lot of damage, and also this guy will do a lot of damage too. Both of them will do a lot of damage. The Wing Knight, effortless, you can't lose. If you bring Ellie, these also have no problems. Seebsen, easy. It's 3v1 again, and she just doesn't do a lot of damage in comparison to how you are at that part of the game. Even if you're under leveled, you're still probably gonna win if you brought Ellie with you or anyone else. Wyvern, Ramses gear Wyvern, easy. Doesn't really pose that big of a challenge to you, so not a big deal. And Stone's gear, I'll put in challenging. He's very tanky. He can reduce your stats. It's really annoying. Id, challenging, because if you don't bring Billy, you're not going to be having a good time. You need to bring Billy for this fight. I mean, I'm pretty sure you can win without Billy, but he just makes everything so much easier. Talon and Terra, I can't remember what are everything. I'm gonna put in challenging as well because if you don't fight this one first, if you don't get rid of her first, she can deal a lot of damage to you. Giant Wells, easy. Just push square with Billy. You'll deal enough damage to win. Bloody, easy. This one does not do the M word as much as the other one we'll be talking about shortly, so it doesn't really pose much challenge. Even if there's two of them, it doesn't pose much of a challenge. Blade Gash, easy. All she does is just do an elemental attack. It's not a big deal. Hyashio and challenging, and this is the Ramses version, not the other version. The Ramses version is quite difficult because he does get healed and all those kind of things, so it's kind of annoying. The graph fight on the plane, I will put in between challenging and easy because you can win if you're a high enough level and you have enough good stuff. You can win. There's really no reason to win. It's just because you get one experience point. This, I'll go ahead and put in easy because this guy, he lowers his stats a lot after he does something, and it takes him a while to get after his stats are lowered. He basically is done for. The bomber, I'm gonna put in challenging because if you focus on the summon, she summons a thing, and if you attack it, the ward I think it's called, if you attack it, it just comes back again, so you just waste your time. Red Drum, definitely very difficult. This is one of the biggest blockades at that point in the game. You can definitely make you get a game over because you're in a rotation of constantly trying to revive people while he's continuing to get rid of them with the M word. So he'll keep doing that over and over again, and I've gotten game overs way in the past because he just does it over and over again. It's RNG. Sometimes he might not do it that many times, but sometimes he'll do it 3 times in a row. Not fun. I'll put Suzanne in the crew. This is a combination of all of those fights that you fight. Put in challenging. Obviously, you can't win the last one against the last guy, but you can win against the rest, and they do decent damage. Dora, I'll also put in challenging because the two gears that you fight with you are useless. It's basically 3v1, but you're the one this time, because the two gears that you bring with you, they do 0 damage. They're just worthless. So the big cannon, effortless. You have to actually try to lose. If you don't do enough damage to beat the big cannon before it goes to 0, then you might as well just restart and grind some levels or get some better gear, because you should be able to win. Verg, easy. I would say the harder fight is the one that comes before her. I would say it's much harder to fight. The fights that you do before her are much harder than the fight there with her. Ramses, I put in challenging because if you don't know what you're doing, you can go into his mirror stance and you take a lot of damage from that. And Margie doesn't really do much for you. She heals you sometimes. Only sometimes though. So you can't really rely on that. Shrapnel, I put in easy. He does do a lot of things, but it's not that big of a deal. He'll go down. Fall Knight, I'll put in challenging because the shield bash can do decent damage. Like where he throws the shield, it can do decent damage, along with all the other things he can do. I'm gonna also put the Wand Knight here with an asterisk. If you equip Beam Coat, they're definitely in easy or effortless. But if you do not equip Beam Coat, they will do a lot of damage. Aegis Knight, I'll put in easy. All he has is a defense break gimmick. It doesn't really do anything. It's not a big deal. And for Sword Knight, I'm gonna put in challenging as well because he does do a really strong combo. So that's also a thing. Calamity, I'm gonna put in very difficult. This guy ends game. This guy gives you game overs all the time. I'm pretty sure no one will argue with that. This guy gives you game overs all the time if you're not geared properly. If you're not at a proper situation where you have enough stats and levels, this guy gets you game overs all the time because he just does so much damage and he's fast for someone who looks like that. Brigadier, I would say put in easy. I wouldn't say effortless because you could possibly lose, but very unlikely. And then the last two, definitely an effortless. There's no way you can lose to those. So that's the tier list, guys. Very difficult. Those are the 3 fights that I think that are hardest in the game by far. And then the difficult is definitely very, very convincingly possible game over fights, but not more than likely you're not going to get a game over from them, but you could. And then challenging, there's a possibility to get game over if you're not properly geared. In easy, there's no way you get a game over from any of these. And effortless, you have to try to lose. Like I said, you have to try to lose. So that's it, guys. Thank you guys very much for watching my tier list. This is what I think of all the Xenogears bosses. I've played this game all my life. I think I can make a tier list on all these things. So again, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace!